Okay, shalom, shalom. Kwam Yasha Allah, Kuhulayimla, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakahakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. Just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akwaf that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawach. Just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. And I saw this article, it's in Survival World. And so you got this guy from North Korea. He was a former bodyguard when he lived there. So he visited Costco's with $100 for the first time and immediately became overwhelmed by America. And just to show you just how, these Americans are living, and they're living fat off the hog. And when shit hits the fans, they're not gonna know how to deal with it. Because this guy, he comes from a poor country, and he's in there and he's just like losing his goddamn mind. He ain't never seen nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Going into a Costco's. Right? So it says Kang Young-choo, a former North Korean soldier who says he once served with Kim Jong-un's bodyguard unit, walked into a Costco for the first time with a simple mission: spend $100 with the help of an American friend named Zach from Kansas. So it says, according to the Dimple video report, filmed in Korea, Kang expected a shopping trip. What he found looked less like an ordinary store, more like a giant symbol of American abundance, choice, and confusion. You see, America, has been sitting on the high end for a long time, but when shit hits the fans and this stuff goes away, these Americans are not gonna know what to do. They're not gonna know how to get down. And the Lord them fatten them up for for the sacrifice, so to speak. It says, I learned that choosing in Costco is the greatest challenge of humans, Kang said in the beginning of the video, setting the tone for a visit that quickly became part comedy, part culture shock, and part quiet reflection on how different life can look depending on where someone starts. So that's why a lot of people come here. They try and get to the Americas. I was going into that scripture yesterday where Ephraim, he brings his children to the murderer. That's why a lot of our people come from different countries, Cuba, Honduras, you know what I'm saying, Venezuela, different places like that, and they try and get here because they've heard of the fatness of America. They've heard of the golden street, so to speak, and then they get here and they see that it's a bunch of bullshit. Okay, but it says Kang said Costco's had always felt to him like the symbol of America, even though he did not really know what it was before his friend told him he needed to go there and spend $100. The first surprise came almost immediately. Instead of entering a simple supermarket, Kang found himself surrounded by electronics, luxury jewelry, computers, Apple products, and massive displays that made the store feel almost impossible to categorize. What is all this? Kang asked as he looked around. My brain could not explain. Zach tried to make sense of the layout for him, explaining that Costco often begins with expensive items like big televisions and jewelry before shoppers move deeper into the store and start feeling like everything else is cheaper by comparison. In Zach's view, that contrast is part of the experience because a $5,000 necklace near the entrance can make bulk groceries seem suddenly reasonable. Kang was also struck by the jewelry case and joked that if something like that existed in North Korea, the glass would be broken within an hour. The joke landed lightly in the video, but it also carried the kind of background that makes Kang's reaction interesting. To someone raised around scarcity and control, a warehouse store full of consumer choice can feel less like convenience and more like strange, overwhelming machine. And kind of reminds me of that scripture that talks about the women having that liberty to gad abroad. It's so much shit you can get into here. It's so much shit you can do. And a simple Costco's trip like this for a foreigner, can it shows you just the freedoms or the liberty that people have to gad abroad in this place to really fuck themselves over. A lot of people are obese. They buy a bunch of shit they don't fucking need. Motherfuckers got 20 TVs in the house. See a pair of shoes, they got 20 pair already. They need that pair. They need this, they need that because of, the eyeball. and it's in abundance here. Okay, it says before Kang could decide how to spend his money, Zach led him towards the electronics. Kang said he already had too much Apple, while Zach asked whether he had a watch, showing him yet another product inside the store. The two also talked about a very ordinary shopping truth. Zach said that when he goes to a store with his wife, he usually follows her, but when he goes with a friend, they look at technology. Kang smiled at that, and the moment worked because it was simple. Even in a video built around big cultural differences, some parts of shopping are universal enough that they need no translation. Eventually, Zach introduced Kang to one of the Costco's best known items, the rotisserie chicken. That's in Walmart. They generally they sell them cheap ass chickens, basically to pull the customers in. They don't think they make any. Supposedly they don't make anything profit off of them. They just what I'm saying, and they have them pretty much right at the front. At the deli section. So that's one of those skills or those techniques that Esau uses to pull you into the store and get you to walking down them big ass aisles, and now you grabbing shit that you didn't need when you went in. It says Zach called it one of the best things in the store, pointing out that it was cooked fresh and sold cheaply, which has long been part of Costco's appeal. Kang then found himself facing beef, salmon, sushi, and cheesecake, all in quantities that seemed to surprise him. He said he had never seen so much beef in one place, and when Zach showed him sushi, Kang admitted he did not know Americans ate it. That line is funny, but it also shows how much of America's food culture, now comes through variety rather than one clear national identity. Costco's can sell beef, sushi, cheesecake, salmon, pizza, hot dogs, bulk snacks under the same roof, and to many Americans that feels normal. To Kang, it looked like a new map of the world. The alcohol aisle changes everything. For all the food that impressed him, Kang's mode clearly shifted when he reached the alcohol section. Zach noticed it immediately, joking that Kang had walked past beef, cheesecake, sushi with mild interest, only to light up once he saw the liquor. He's like a kid in the Christmas store, Zach said. Kang said he finally knew how to spend his $100. Still, Costco's pricing and shelf layout created confusion. Zach warned Kang that new shoppers can easily mistake one price tag for another and end up thinking a bottle costs much less than it does. A moment later, Kang appeared to make the same mistake again, which made Zach laugh because he had just explained the trap. And that's how Esau gets down, man. He sets shit up, you know what I'm saying? You get to the counter, and now you're spending more, and you kind of like, I've done it plenty of times where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm up here, I got this shit. But then, sometimes I'll just sit that shit to the side, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that, you know what I'm saying? Because that's how Esau gets down. He sets what you think is a price, and it's actually something else. It's like a sneaky ass tactic. Okay, but it says Kane considered vodka after a Costco's worker tried to sell it to him, but he said he was not a vodka guy. Whiskey became his choice instead, partly because he had tried it before. The scene is lighthearted, but also says something about choice itself. Kane was not just deciding what to buy. He was learning how to shop in a place designed to make every choice feel like an opportunity and a risk at the same time. Yeah, man. Free samples and the strange joy of buying too much. The next discovery was Costco's free samples, which Zach described as one of the reasons people come to the store. He explained that some shoppers move around sampling food throughout the day, which Kang found strange and funny. When Kang received the sample, he reacted with real surprise. Free food? How is this possible? He said. Zach added that in America, the sample worker often gives a full speech about the product while shoppers stand there awkwardly. And Kang seemed happy to keep taking part in the ritual. He joked that he could do it all day. When it came time to make his $100 decision, Kang returned to the liquor aisle, the alcohol aisle, but Zach also introduced him to beef jerky protein products. Zach said American stores usually carry far more jerky options with many brands and flavors, while the Korean Costco appeared to have only a couple. American people love protein, Kang said, after Zach pointed out the differences. The part of the visit was one of the more quietly revealing sections of the video. Kang was overwhelmed by America's access, but Zach, standing inside Costco's outside the United States, noticed where it still did not feel American enough. Even abundance has levels. Zach could see the missing ones. So they go to the checkout line, all that good shit. Hot dogs, pizza, small, lesson and similarity, all that good shit. So it's more to the story. But as you can see, Americans, they have a bulk of varieties of things to do, and it's really it really has fucked people over, to just be honest about it. You know what I'm saying? Just being out here and just being able to, it's just a place to self-destruct. I mean, I say that about America all the time. This is one of the only places on the planet where you can legally self-destruct. Like you can just legally overdo it, OD on shit, man. But I wanted to get second address, because see, all that's coming to an abrupt end. All that, because see, these Americans, they don't think that ever there will be a famine here, or ever there will be hunger. It's just too much in abundance. It's hard to believe, but it's prophetic. You go to Second Esdras chapter 15. I'm gonna jump straight to the point. Verse 19. It says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation." So see, right now that seems impossible. What do you mean lack of bread? What do you mean great tribulation? I was watching a video of a Eve this morning. A couple of brothers had put commented on it, or done videos on it, where she was talking about she had all this water and had all this food, and how everybody was there was basically a famine, and everybody was going batshit crazy. They was trying to get into her house, and she was all talking like how she had told them that this was coming, and she was speaking on the Lord and speaking on relying on the Lord. She didn't mention Yahweh Shai, I'm kind of thinking she was probably one of those sweet white baby Jesus Christian women, you know what I'm saying, which is going, is an idol, which is still going to get her fucked up, if she doesn't repent. But yeah, houses are going to be ravished, man. And when you go into Yahweh, I didn't speak this for nothing right here in Matthew 24. This wasn't spoken of for nothing. He didn't just say this for nothing, because he gave a layout as to what would be happening in the end days. Because the disciples asked him now in verse 3 here. It says, "And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?" Right? And Yahweh shall answer. And we use the true name of the Father and Son, Yahweh, which is the true name of the Father, which means that he exists, or the existing one. And the true name of the Son is Yahweh Shai. We like to bring that out in these lessons to let the people know, for first time listeners, that the Lord's name is not Jesus. It can't possibly be Jesus, because the letter J wasn't invented until 1524 by Grand Miriam named Georgia Tracina, and the Father's name is not Jehovah. There is no letter J in the Hebrew alphabet. No letter J, E, O, U, or V. But anyway, verse 4, Yahweh answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am the anointed, and shall deceive many. And that's going on quite a bit right now, too. They had that guy that was supposedly shot at the Secret Service agents out there at the White House and shit, said he was Jesus. Which we know that's not the true name. Okay, but verse 6, it says, And ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things shall come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. See that? And pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So the Lord is mentioning famines. And in America, you might have a person that's like, shit, they might miss a meal. They might miss shit, but you can go next door, across the street, or somewhere. Somebody will feel compassionate enough to give you something to eat. You know what I'm saying? It's not like, hell, homeless people here in America fucking eat great compared to the average person that works in another country. Say, for instance, going to North Korea, you can have two family, a husband and wife, working and got a home and everything. And you'll have a homeless person here in the Americas eating better than them, because that's how abundant America is. So I wanted to go into this word famine real quick. It's lamos. In the Greek, G3042. Scarcity. See? Scarcity of harvest. Famine. Scarcity of food. dearth, famine, hunger, through the idea of destitution. Let's see, G3 3007, to leave behind, forsake. Let me see. Yeah, be destitute, lack, wanting. Yep. So, hey, that's coming, man. That's coming on a huge scale, to the point where people are gonna be, you know, they gonna cook the goldfish in the motherfucking aquarium in the living room. They gonna get at the cats and the dogs later. You know, they gonna be scouring for food wherever they can, eating damn grass, trying to boil grass from the backyard, leaves and shit from off the trees. Then it's just gonna get down to some damn human work. Now let me see if I can find this other one in the Apocrypha. Second Ezra 16 and let me start at verse 17. It says, woe is me, woe is me. Who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine, you see that? And great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? And, that's the question, that he's asking, and the answer is, hey, wait on the Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, call on the Lord. Trust in the Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Verse 19, it says, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent to scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap. Salakia, let me read that back. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in a good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. Ooh, man, boy. And that's pretty much what it is, because you can see Costco's, yeah, victuals are sold cheap. That, you got Sam's Club. You got a lot of different little box stores where you can bulk up, go and buy shit in bulk, you know what I'm saying? And that's what a lot of people do, that you kind of figure if you got a larger family, it helps, kind of saving some money here and there. But yeah, man, I just seen an article and I found it to be interesting, because this guy, he was really intrigued. He like, damn, like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck going on here? Coming off in that boy, he just off in that boy just looking confused. He like, look at that shit though. And I ain't been in one of them boys in a minute. I remember when we first kind of got one. I was years back, and I had a membership with my cousin one time, and shit. I went a few times, but it was just like me on the dolo. Like shit, that shit is for like a family of 20 damn near. If you go in there buying something, everything is bulked up. Unless it's just, something that, it could help in certain areas. Don't get me wrong. But if you're a person that's just single type of deal on the dolo, it's really like a store for a huge family type of deal, you ask me. But I guess you can get away with certain things. Because if you get certain, it's like the shit is so big, once you open it, you got to kind of, have some Ziploc bags to be freezing a bunch of shit, or, somewhere to store it, like, you're not going to be able to go in there and just get a regular can of peas or a regular can of green beans, or, you might be able to get it, but it's probably going to come more than likely in a case. But they generally have like them fucking, them cans that look like a big ass paint can, you know what I'm saying? Full of, fruits, vegetables, or whatever the case may be. Anyway, though, you get the point. This guy's sitting here looking confused as hell. He came here to the Americas. He straight down the liquor aisle. He like, I know where to spend my $100 at. Shit, I need a drink just being here. Anyway, I'm going to end out there. Pray that the lesson was edifying. Kwame Yashala and the Baba Boy.